As the strength and power of the early church grew, so did hatred against it. More followers in Jerusalem were punished for their faith, forcing many of the early believers to run away. But God, in His mercy, moved the early disciples out of Jerusalem so they could take the good news of Jesus into the world. One of these special servants of God was named Philip. As he was teaching and preaching in Samaria, an angel spoke to him and said, "Take the road that goes through Jerusalem and go south to Gaza." Philip did as the angel told him and began the dangerous journey through the very city he earlier was forced to leave. On the same road toward Gaza, Philip came upon a chariot that belonged to a man from Ethiopia who was in charge of all the treasure in his kingdom. He was returning from one of the Jewish feasts in Jerusalem. The Spirit of the living God called to Philip and told him to approach the chariot, so Philip ran and caught up to the Ethiopian. As he got near to the chariot, he heard the Ethiopian reading from the book of Isaiah, one of the books of the prophets. Philip asked him, "Do you understand what you are reading?" The Ethiopian replied, "How can I? I have no one to help me understand what is written in it." With that, he asked Philip to come sit with him in the chariot. Not only was the Ethiopian reading from the book of Isaiah, but the part he was reading was specifically about Jesus the Messiah. Philip explained to him that years before, this part of Isaiah had predicted the coming of Jesus. They began reading the words about Jesus' life, death, and resurrection together. The Ethiopian asked Philip, "Who is this man who quietly and willingly gave up his life?" Philip began to tell him the good news about how Jesus had offered himself up to die for the sins of the world. He explained all about salvation through Jesus, and the Ethiopian believed. As they continued along the road, they came upon some water. Excited at what he had just learned, the Ethiopian said, "I want to be baptized right now." The Ethiopian walked with Philip down to the water and was baptized. In this act of faith, he was washed clean from sin and became a follower of Jesus. As soon as the Ethiopian came up from the water, God moved Philip from that place to a whole different town. The beautiful gospel of Jesus continued to spread. The Ethiopian was so happy. He went home a changed man. God moved Philip to his next mission in another town. The kingdom of God was growing, and God's salvation was reaching all across the world.